All right, what's up guys? Ryan from Elevate Security here. Now in this video, we're going to be looking at the Apache Tomcat service, which is through the HTTP protocol. It's just a manager for, I believe it's Java based. And this is a pretty commonly seen portal here. So that's why I really wanted to give this one special attention, because it's definitely what I would consider a potential low-hanging fruit, and certainly could be a rabbit hole in some cases. But let me just say that I have encountered this on multiple CTFs. I've encountered this in the real world through actual corporate experience and actually doing the exact exploit that I'm going to show you. I've actually done that for a Fortune 10 company. Believe it or not, they fell victim to the same vulnerability that we're going to exploit here. And I've also seen it on OSCP. So now I haven't done the new OSCP. Maybe that old box is out of rotation now. But just needless to say, it's very prevalent. And so I would definitely pay extra attention to this, really, because this is a good one and also very simple to exploit, in my opinion. So we're going to start, since it's HTTP, we're going to fire up our Firefox browser here, and we are going to connect to it on port 8180. So this is the default Apache Tomcat page. We're even graced with a version number that we could look into if we wanted to, say, see if there's any particular juicy vulnerability known for this one, because we do have this information. And this isn't really the exploit path that I was going to go down. I just wanted to definitely instill within you always looking this stuff up when you have this free information here. But what we're interested in is the Tomcat manager here. So we're going to go here, and it prompts us for authentication. Now, let's just imagine that we don't know what the default credentials are. One thing we can do is we can look up Apache Tomcat default credentials. Just Google search that, right? And first link that pops up is this GitHub here with all of these potential Apache default credentials, Apache Tomcat. Just to save us some time, I know that it's Tomcat in this case, but that just shows you how quickly and easily you can find information like this as an attacker. Like, literally, some of the hacking stuff can be done by anyone. It's so simple to do. So in this case, we are going to just use this default credential here. Now, another thing I could do if I wasn't sure is I could use Burp Suite Intruder, or I could use Hydra or something like that, and brute force by trying all of these. I could feed it all into a program like Hydra, Burp Suite, what is it? The Python fuzzer one, WFuzz. I could feed it into any of those, and I could literally brute force until I found the correct credential, right? So yeah, there's a lot of ways that we could slice this one, but we'll save some time on this because I want the focus of this video to be exploiting Tomcat. Once you're here, you've got a shell if you know what you're doing. So what this Tomcat web application manager allows you to do is it enables you to upload WAR files. Now, if you're not familiar with WAR files, basically they're Java archive files. So think about like zip files, but for housing like JSPs and like Java code, stuff like that. So what we want to do then, since we have this functionality, we're able to deploy them, we're able to browse to them and execute them in our browser. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to actually upload a WAR file. We want to create a malicious JSP that has some shell code that will spawn a shell for us, embed that inside a compressed WAR file, and deploy that to the server. And then when we browse to it, we should get code execution on the target server here. So I know that probably sounds pretty complex, but it's actually really simple to do. And I'm going to show you exactly how. So in order to do that, we're going to use a tool that I haven't really covered on this channel yet, but I will be sure to cover more of in the future, and that's MSF Venom. This is our payload generator. It's like a Metasploit-based payload generator. Now, let's just take a look at all the freaking payloads, because there's so many payloads that we can use. I just want to get you guys a little bit familiarized with it while we're on the topic of it. You know, why not? This is definitely, I will say this is a tool that you're going to be using a ton on OSCP. So if you have OSCP in your horizon, definitely learn how to use this tool pretty efficiently. It's going to really pay off for sure. Now this command does take a while to run, but yeah, it did finally finish. Also, I can tell you that from previous recon, I know that our target is a 32-bit system. This is really important because these payloads, it matters whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit. Now, one thing I should have done was grep for Linux, because there's a lot of different platforms that these things are for here. So look, these are all Windows, and we know our target is a Linux server. So we want to actually scroll up to the Linux exploits. x86 is what we're looking for because it's our target is a 32-bit system. So this is what I would prefer to use here, is this Linux x86 interpreter reverse TCP. Actually, not this one, the one with the slash. This one is really big. This is a really huge one. We can get a smaller one. I don't foresee size being an issue, but if it is, then even staying away from interpreter might be the way to go for you. But in this case, this is going to be the ideal one right here. This is the one I'm going to use. I'll copy that. But just to show you, if we go up to like these shell bind or yeah, like this one here, the non-interpreter ones, maybe if you're doing OSCP, maybe you want to not use Metasploit, so you might want to do one of these and then have it connect to back to your netcat listener. That's an option that you can go with, but we're gonna be doing the interpreter shell on this video. But it's just as simple, equally as simple to do it with netcat. And so now that we have that, we're going to run MSF Venom. And I'm actually going to show you, we're going to look for the formats really quick. -L for list. And we're going to have it list all the formats that are available, because remember, we want to generate a payload that's a WAR file, because that's what the server accepts. It only accepts WAR files. So we want to make sure we get that. So just like the last time, this takes a while to query because there's quite a lot of options as far as the formats go as well. But the one that we are looking for is right here, WAR. So simple enough. Now that we have all that information, we can proceed. -P for payloads, lhost equals our IP address, because we want it to tell us, we want to tell it to connect back to our server, because we're going to run this on the target server and it's going to connect back to our listener. So we're going to put our IP address in here, as well as the port that we're going to listen on. We'll do 1337 for demonstration purposes here. And now we want to tell it it's going to be a WAR file, and we'll output it to the name of, what do we want to do here? We'll just say tomcat.war, simple. So now it's going to go ahead and generate our malicious WAR file with our embedded malicious JSP that should give us the shell. And while we're doing that, we're going to need to set up our listener. So if we go to, we'll start up MSF console here. I already started the Metasploit database, I do believe. Let's see if this completed. Okay. So that completed, that's right there. One thing we're going to want to do is we're going to make note of what the JSP is, because it randomly generated the name. That's just how this works. So in this case, oh shoot, we called it, did we call it? No, we did call it tomcat.war. I did some of these earlier. I was just testing this out, as you can see here. But yeah, we can delete these. But yeah, tomcat.war is the one that we had just created. So this is the name I want to make note of. We're going to need this in the future. Actually, before I do that, let me just copy this. go to Metasploit, and we're going to set up our listener. To do that, we're going to say use exploit multi-handler. And let's see, options here. Okay, we're going to set payload as this thing. That's why I copied it. And then we're going to set lhost as us, as well as our listening port of 1337. And we're just going to run that. All right, cool. So now we have our listener going. Now we go back. We'll go back to this file manager here. And yeah, we want to copy this. So now that we have that copied, what we want to do first is go ahead, first of all, and deploy this war file to the Tomcat manager here, to the Tomcat server. Oops, we got to browse it down here and select it. It shows up there and hit deploy. And all right, we got an OK message, so that means it should be deployed. And actually, we do see it here as well as confirmation. So now we're just going to go ahead and navigate to it to execute it. That's why I copied it there so I could paste it. And now that I've done that, let's see if we got that connection back. And we did. Interpreter session 1 opened. So we can type help. We can see all the different stuff. We are, let's see, who am I? Okay, it doesn't have who am I. What is it? ID? Wait, what is that command? There's a command to see who you are. Is it? It's been a while since I used a interpreter shell. I gotta say, I'm just getting back into this again, guys. It's been a while, but I'm definitely gonna be making a lot more of this kind of content. Maybe was it get UID, GUID? No, what was it? I want to see really quick what this command was, because there's a quick way without having to drop into a shell that you can see who you are, what user account you're running as. That's what I'm interested in here. Was it GUID? I don't think so. Maybe it was. File system commands. But yeah, this just goes to show you just some of the commands that you have access to here. We can do a sysinfo, get some information about the system. Oh no, that's just your session GUID. I mean, if we drop into a shell, we can, what is it on Windows? Or no, this is Linux, right? Yeah, this is Linux. What am I thinking? Yeah. So now I can run who am I from here for sure. Okay, yeah, we're the Tomcat user. Makes sense. So from here, we would need to look to escalate our privileges, do some recon on the underlying OS, and see if we could move up the food chain. Right. So yeah, but we'll cut it here because we want to keep it focused on Tomcat. Maybe in a future video we could do that if there's some interest there. But yeah, this has been Ryan with Elevate Security, and this pretty much wraps up the series. I think we covered most of everything I wanted to cover. If there's anything in particular that you think I missed out on and you would like to see covered, maybe I could find, if it's not a service that's running on Metasploitable 2, maybe I can find another CTF box and demo it for you and show you what I would look for in terms of low-hanging fruit and what things I would look out for as far as avoiding rabbit holes. But yeah, that's pretty much been it for this series. I hope this was of value to you guys, and let me know down in the section below as always, and I will see you in the next video.